Welcome to Web Handling. My name is Dave Roysum. I am super excited to begin a new series on how to get started in troubleshooting some of your most common problems in wrinkling and winding. These are likely among your top causes of waste, delay, and customer complaint. Stay tuned. Yes, this talk is not strictly about wrinkles, but stay tuned anyway because we will show you how to diagnose them for illustration purposes. However, we will do much more than just talk about wrinkling and winding defects. This talk is really about taxonomy applied to web handling problems such as wrinkling and winding. Yes, I know that taxonomy can be a dry subject. Yes, it can also be extremely difficult to do well. Yet, it is immensely useful if you can, so please stay tuned. Let's step back a bit and look at an example taxonomy that you're at least aware of. That is a classification of life that you may have been introduced to in grade school science classes. 1,000 years ago, scientists would group, for example, things that move together in one category and call them animals, and things that didn't move in another category and call them plants. Further subdividing put jellyfishes and whales in the same group, and bats and birds in the same group. Carolus Linnaeus changed all of that in the 1700s, and modern DNA analysis changed that again. Our goal is simply to be able to tell a jellyfish from a whale and a bat from a bird, so to speak. Our taxonomy is only 3 deep. The top category is the problem that is the outcome that management or the customer might complain about, such as the web is not dead flat or wrinkled in common language. The next is the major case, which has common mechanics connecting all of the subcases. Finally, the minor or subcase, that is the root cause in common language. So, why are we bothering with this? For the super practical reason is that if you want to know if you are making any progress on a particular problem, such as saving the whales, you can't do that by sampling or counting fish. Yet, we do this all the time in our defect codes for waste, delay, and customer complaint. We, for example, lump all wrinkles together even when they are not likely caused in the same part of the machine and likely have totally different root causes and thus solution options. I once worked for a company who had a formidable corporate statistics department. One of the old docs there once said that if their company had invented the blood pressure machine, the first thing they would have done would be to average the diastolic and systolic pressures together so that they only had to report one number to management. What happens when you average the 2 numbers together? You lose almost all useful information. Same thing with total cholesterol. We now look at HDL-LDL ratios and triglycerides. The goal here is rather simple to state. The classification system must be super simple to use and super useful for troubleshooting. We have by no means classified all defects and could not cover them in anything like a conference talk even if we had. What we are going to do is merely illustrate how this can be done with some very common defects that almost every one of you will see almost every day. These include winding defects such as core crush, rough roll edges, starring, and telescoping. These also include almost every flatness and wrinkling issue you will ever run into. Stay tuned. Thank you so very much for letting me introduce the concept of taxonomy and why it can be so absolutely and vitally useful. In the next clip, we will go through in detail the winding and wrinkling topics we just mentioned in the last slide. Please stay tuned.